of the young season. Welcome inside. Aaron Goldsmith alongside former Mariners catcher Dave Valley. Valley, it's great to have you part of the broadcast this year,
well,
man.
You know, this has been a dream of mine to work with you for years,
yes.
and I'm just so excited to be here with you.
Well, we have to watch the soft serve machine now here in the press box. We'll take it easy on Old Faithful there. Hey, some tough news. Obviously, the road trip was difficult being swept in San Francisco, but kind of the worst thing that happened in San Fran was at the very end of yesterday's game. Victor Robles, really the igniter for the Mariners, leadoff hitter and right fielder, made just an incredible catch. This truly might be the catch of the year in baseball, but a left shoulder dislocation, the timetable unknown. He is, however, on the injured list.
Look, this is a guy that lays it out on the line every single night. We heard Dan Wilson talking about the energy that he brings inside the clubhouse, but he also brings it out on the field. This is an all-out effort, a phenomenal play, but that left shoulder gets twisted as he hits into that net. Hopefully, he will be able to make a quick recovery.
Yeah, we should know more in a little bit. He's getting an MRI tonight. Dom Canzone comes up from AAA Tacoma Valley. He's no stranger here to Seattle. We know he's got some incredible pop, can play the corner outfield position. You can't replace Robles exactly, but Canzone is here in the meantime.
Well, I'm sure Danny Wilson's hoping that he's going to be able to bring some pop. He's got 2 home runs down in Tacoma. Both of those came yesterday, so hopefully they're getting a hot Dominic Canzone on the ball club here today.
The Astros come to town. This is a big homestand. You got 2 teams within the division. The Rangers next, but tonight it begins a 3-game series against the Astros. This is a very different looking Astros team the Mariners will be facing tonight.
It really is. They're only 4-5, so they've kind of sputtered out of the gate, but they've lost Alex Bregman and Kyle Tucker, 2 enormous bats in that lineup. But yesterday they scored 8 unanswered runs to overcome the Minnesota Twins, so they can still put some runs up on the board pretty quick, but they got their hands full with Logan Gilbert tonight.
Yeah, both these offenses trying to get things going in the early stages of the season. Tonight, the homestand begins. It's game 1 of 3, the Mariners and the Houston Astros, with Logan Gilbert up on the mound. We'll talk some starting pitching when we come back.
National Geographic Society. Wonder awaits.
Mariners
Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by the Washington Traffic Safety Commission. Always drive sober and wear your seatbelt. We all play a role in keeping our roads safe. And by T-Mobile, with America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile is your ticket to the game. Mariners back home, beginning a two-series homestand tonight. It's game 1 of 3, the Mariners and the Houston Astros. Mariners off to a rough start this season, swept in 3 games in San Francisco before coming back home, trying to get things back on track. Here is our Western Washington Toyota dealers pitching matchup. Hayden Wesneski is going for the Astros. Meanwhile, Logan Gilbert, who is simply one of the best starting pitchers in baseball, going back to last year, Val, he's up on the mound for the 3rd time for the Mariners.
Yeah, Logan's gotten off to a really good start this season. He's 0-1 with an ERA right at 3, but he's got 18 punch outs and a whip of just .67 in that last start against the Detroit Tigers. He ended up going 5 innings, gave up 5 hits, 3 runs, had 10 punch outs and just 1 walk. And tonight, one of the keys for him is to be able to pound that strike zone, work ahead, put the offensive players on the defensive, and use that split. Be looking out for the split because he's doubled his usage of it since last year. And the reason why, his whip rate is 51% with that split finger, and opponents are only hitting 101.
Yeah, pitch good to right-handers too, and there are a lot of right-handers in this Astros lineup. Not something he saves just for the lefties. On the other side, this is an interesting young pitcher. Hayden Wesneski, just his 2nd start of the season. Their number 5 starter, coming over from the Cubs in the Kyle Tucker deal.
Yeah, this guy's 0-1 as well. That ERA at 5.40. They gave up a good player to bring this guy over to Houston, and they like him as their 5th starter. In his last start against the Giants, he got roughed up a little bit. 3 earned runs over 5 innings, but did have 6 strikeouts. They like his stuff. He's got a good 4-seam fastball, a sweeper, a sinker, and a cutter. And that usage of that 4-seam fastball, quite a bit different than last year. It's at 55% of the time.
A guy who spent some time in the bullpen in his career can really spin it with that sweeper. It's game 1 of 3. It's the Mariners and the Astros from T-Mobile Park. First pitch coming right up. Brought to you by your local Ford dealer, home of the F-150, America's best-selling truck for 48 years. And by Emerald Queen Casino. Rock and roll legend Don Felder comes to the Emerald Queen Casino April 17th. Tickets at emeraldqueen.com. A rainy day here in Seattle. The roof is on as we welcome you inside beautiful T-Mobile Park. Both these teams trying to get over the break-even mark. The Astros at 4-5. The Mariners come back home at 3-7. Now some changes defensively, some changes in the lineup. Julio is now back at the top of the order. He is batting leadoff tonight for the first time this season. With the injury to Victor Robles, he's been hot. Home runs in 2 of the last 3 games. And as you probably remember, some of his best numbers have actually come batting leadoff for the Mariners. With Robles out, this means Luke Raley will see more playing time in the outfield. He had 21 starts in right field last year. He started nearly 100 games overall in the outfield last season with the Mariners. So some familiar territory for the slugging Luke Raley. Randy Arozarena, maybe one of his very best moments in his early days as a Mariner, dating back to last summer after coming over via trade from the Rays. The game-tying double with 2 outs. The Mariners down to their final strike in the 9th inning yesterday in San Francisco. That sound can mean only one thing. Jose Altuve getting set to lead things off. It does not matter the year. The greeting remains the same for the Astros tonight's second baseman. He has been more frequently in left field this year for the Astros.
And I'm sure it's going to stay that way for the rest of his career.
I'm sure it will. Logan Gilbert's third start is underway. First pitch 95, misses upstairs for ball 1. It is strange when you look at the Astros numbers offensively coming into this one, Val. They are nearly at the very bottom in baseball in runs per game. They are 29th. They're averaging 3 runs per contest. They're 28th in slugging. And they have struck out a ton. They are chasing a lot. There's obviously a lot of new personnel for the Astros, but this is not what we're used to seeing, even if it is just early in the season.
Yeah, and that's not a characteristic that you've seen of the Houston Astros over the last, gosh, about 9 years where they've made the playoffs.
This is flattened out to J.P. Crawford, and there's out number 1 tonight. Altuve, one of the only guys really swinging a hot bat. Isaac Paredes, a dead pull hitter, and his first year with the Astros is at third. Yordan Alvarez is coming off his first home run of the season. Obviously, he's the guy that every manager in baseball circles when they face the Astros. But he is off to a rough start, as is a free agent acquisition, Christian Walker, their first baseman. Strike 1 to Paredes. Now the Astros were in this interesting position over the winter where they were trying to possibly lure Alex Bregman to come back and sign as a free agent with the team that he grew up with, after they had already acquired Isaac Paredes to play third, and there was an idea that Paredes would move to play second base and Altuve would go to left to free up Bregman's old position. None of that came to be, of course. Bregman now a Boston Red Sox, so Paredes at third base for Houston this year. Pulled on the ground to Dylan Moore, and there is out number 2, couple of ground ball outs. Logan Gilbert coming off a performance of 10 strikeouts his last time up on the mound.
This is a guy that has really turned the corner. I thought last year was kind of the moment where he started to recognize just how good he could be. Led the league in innings pitched. Take a look at this great start that he's had this season so far. 18 strikeouts, just 1 walk.
Here is Yordan Alvarez.
Yeah, that batting average just doesn't really tell the tale of Yordan Alvarez. This guy is one of the top run producing hitters in the game of baseball.
I mean, obviously you don't want to face Alvarez when he's hot, but when he's as cold as he has been, isn't there also the fear that don't let him get hot on your watch?
Get him out of town quick. This guy, I mean, he's just not just a power hitter, right? He takes his walks, he puts the ball in play, he hits for a high average, and he's come up pretty clutch for this ball club over the years.
3 straight sliders his direction from Logan Gilbert. Buzzes the tower with a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. That'll brush him off the plate a little bit.
This got a little hair on it right here. A little four-seamer up and in. Just barely gets past his right arm without hitting it. Trying to keep the big man honest up at the plate.
Gilbert back to the count, 3-2. Has not thrown him that split finger you were talking about yet, Val.
You might see it right here, though. After 4 sliders and that good fastball, kind of kept him honest, pushing him off the plate a little bit. Let's see what Cal goes with right here.
Gilbert on a 3-2.
Trying to ride that fastball across the top of the zone.
If you're Cal right there, do you feel like Logan got away with the pitch?
Yes.
It's 96, but Alvarez is right over the plate.
And 3-2, he's probably looking fastball and trying to react to anything else. Early in the game, nobody's on.
Misses inside. A breaking ball. Does not throw him the splitter at all in that at bat.
Here's a look at Logan Gilbert's arsenal in that last outing where he punched out 15, throwing that 4-seamer at 48%. I'm going to round up a little bit. The splitter at 28%. The slider and the curve. And what makes him so tough is that fastball that he runs across the top of the zone. It has that little extra ride to it, right? It stays level. And then he comes back with the split finger that is dropping dramatically more than it even was last year.
That walk to Alvarez, just the second walk this year for Logan Gilbert. Now facing Christian Walker, former Diamondbacks first baseman, Gold Glove winner. Now with the Astros, first of a 3-year deal.
He's had some success off of Gilbert, 2 for 6 with a home run.
2 outs, Alvarez at first base. Now, the Mariners haven't historically seen a whole lot of Christian Walker because he's been in the National League, but they'll see a lot of him now.
Logan's throwing that splitter, I'm sorry, the slider quite a few more times than you would anticipate in the first inning.
Now ties him up there. There's the slider again. Two outs, a runner at first base. Gilbert's 2-2. He struck him out, and there is that split finger. Saves it for Christian Walker, and he strands a runner. Top of the first, spun by Logan Gilbert. On to the home half now. Mariners and the Astros in game 1, and it is Julio Rodriguez leading things off for the Mariners now. Good to see Jorge Polanco back in the fold. He is DHing but batting second. Cal Raleigh is 1 home run shy of setting the Mariners all-time record for most home runs by a catcher in franchise history. Hayden Wesneski is up on the mound. Julio goes after his first pitch and sails it towards right field and out of play. Julio homered in game 1 in the first inning in San Francisco. He homered yesterday in the first inning in San Francisco. He's homered in 2 of the last 3 games. Very familiar batting leadoff. Behind 0-2. Julio batting leadoff with Victor Robles on the injured list. We do not quite know the timetable yet for Victor, but it does change things significantly for the Mariners, both in terms of their lineup, of course, and also how they play right field every day. And as Dan talked about, just the energy that Robles brings every single day. And I'm guessing, Val, it's the stuff that we don't see as well. We see the energy on the field and in the dugout, but there's a lot that goes on from noon until 7 o'clock that we're not privy to.
Personality, right? He's a character. He's a guy that is a very high energy person. And we've all known that, right? Think
Sure.
of people in your life that when they walk into the room, like all of a sudden the energy level is raised. And you need that in the game of baseball, right? 162 games plus 30 in spring training. You need somebody to kind of elevate the energy, and I think that's exactly what Robles does for this ball club.
The opposite way. Dubon is in right field. He makes the catch for out number 1. Our first look at Hayden Wisniewski. It's his second start of the year. Valley's working on an extra day's rest. This is someone they feel can fill the back part of their rotation.
Yeah, they're very pleased with him as a number 5 starter at this point in time. But they like his stuff. They feel like he's got elite stuff. As we mentioned, he's got a 4-seamer, the cutter, a big sweeper. That was kind of his signature pitch last year, but he's changed quite a bit since he's joined the Astros. They've gotten him to use the 4-seam fastball a lot more this year, 55% versus only 36% last year. So if you're a hitter, you can look fastball a little bit more often.
Good to see Jorge Polanco back in the lineup. Missed the last couple of games. Obviously, Jorge's been dealing with the knee issue. He had off-season knee surgery. Have you heard us say that before? And it kept him from playing every single day in spring training. And they were obviously monitoring that once the regular season began as well. But learning today that he's also been dealing with a side injury and has felt some soreness with that. So they've obviously been very careful with him, Val. He's had a blistering hot start. Has been such an important part of the lineup, and the Mariners are trying to kind of manage his workload so that he can stay in there and obviously avoid any lengthened absence.
Well, and the fact that it's early in the season too, if you're ever going to give a guy a little bit extra time to heal up, to get closer to 100%, now would be the time. I mean, as a baseball player, you get through spring training, if you feel 100% on opening day, you're really, really fortunate. Just the wear and tear.
Even on opening day?
Well, opening day kind of covers, because you got all that energy, right? But maybe day 2,
the adrenaline is gone.
Start to feel all the bumps and bruises.
To right field, Dubon able to get there, hit hard but to the wrong spot. There's out number 2.
Here's a look at the arsenal of Hayden Wisniewski. In that last start he threw that 4-seam fastball 55% of the time. Cutter 16%, the sweeper at 15%. Also with that changeup and sinker. See, one of the things that the Astros have done very successfully over the years is get pitchers from other organizations.
Well, Dubon is a busy man. Can't get to this one. It's in front of him, and Randy Arozarena has his first hit that's not an extra base hit. He singles to right field with 2 outs. You were saying?
Yeah, as they receive guys from other teams, they're able to make some changes to improve it. As we're taking a look right here at Arozarena hitting that ball right off the end of the bat as it finds that grass right in front of Dubon out there in right field.
And think about guys from Colin McHugh to even Justin Verlander that they've been able to make tweaks to and get some incredible production out of. Here's Cal Raleigh.
Garrett Cole would be another guy. Charlie Morton.
Well, Cole went from an above average pitcher to a Hall of Fame pitcher, or at least the looks of one, when he was in Houston wearing an Astros uniform. High and outside, ball 1-2, Cal Raleigh. Cal with an awfully impressive on-base streak dating back to last year's 23 consecutive games. It is the longest ever by a catcher in franchise history, even better than that banner 1993 season on there.
I didn't even know I had that streak. Thank you for sharing it.
Hey, a little bit of research goes a long way. Happy to point that out. Yeah, you see Zunino on there a couple of times. Dan Wilson, obviously, now the Mariners dugout. The 1-1. Blister down the line and foul. That was a screamer. Nearly 109 off the bat, but foul from Cal.
Well, we're seeing Cal really starting to catch up to that fastball. He had that home run down in San Francisco. Wisniewski tries to sneak this one on the inside part of the plate. See how he pulls his hands in there, right? That left arm is almost like in a chicken wing, but he's able to get the barrel of the bat right to the ball.
The way this first inning's been going, Dubon better be ready. Randy takes off, and looked like Caratini just lost the grip. First stolen base this year for Randy Arozarena.
Yeah, and Cal may have gotten away with that one right there. That Arozarena being aggressive over there at first base. Gets a really good jump. That slider right at the bottom, and Caratini, take a look here as he tries to make the transfer into his throwing hand. He's just not able to get the grip to get off a throw. I don't think he would have had Arozarena as well, being that it was a off-speed pitch.
Stays alive. Mariners a chance to strike here in the first inning. 2 outs, Arozarena at second. 2-2 to Cal. Wisniewski is in his 4th big league season. It's his first year with the Astros. He came over in the Kyle Tucker deal. And this is really his first opportunity to be used exclusively as a starter. He has gone back and forth between the rotation and the bullpen each of the last 3 years with the Cubs. Joe Espada using him to help fill out his rotation. Two outs, 2 balls, and 2 strikes. On the ground, hit hard, smothered by Walker, picks himself up, a high flip. Wisniewski is able to corral it and step on the bag. 99 off the bat from Cal on the Gold Glover over there at first base. Christian Walker with the nifty glove work to get the Astros off the field and strand a man. Gilbert in his last start against the Tigers, 4 of the 5 hits now coming off of his slider.
Yeah, they're pretty good location right here. You'll see him all in the bottom third of the strike zone. And it's interesting because tonight he's thrown quite a few sliders already. I think after that game that he pitched against Detroit, he went back and looked at the, well, they're not really highlights, but all those pitches, and he goes, you know what? I tip my hat to them because they were good pitchers. They were right where I wanted them to be.
Well, that slider misses just off the plate. Ball 1 to Jeremy Pena. A lot of sliders and four-seamers. We saw just the one splitter in the first inning. That was the strikeout pitch to Christian Walker. Pena in the air out to left field. Arozarena in his tracks makes the catch. A quick out, number 1.
Well, clearly Logan has got a different game plan against this ball club than he did against the last team he pitched against. That was another slider right there.
You know, Logan obviously has changed so much over the course of his Mariners career. But one of the things that maybe might be more under the current that you don't notice as easily is that the slider itself has changed so much year over year. The shape, the velocity. And last year we really saw it at its very peak. Of course, the best season to date for Logan Gilbert. Strike 1 to Caratini.
And another slider.
Caratini calls time after the very first pitch. .96 over the plate, and Gilbert in the driver's seat, 0-2. Yainer Diaz is on deck. He is the normal catcher for the Astros. He's struggled offensively. They've moved him down to the order and are DHing him. So Caratini is doing the catching today. Hasn't had a whole lot of at-bats this year. Well, Diaz, one of the many struggling bats early this season for the Astros. Diaz is a guy historically with a lot of power. Bliss to his right. Low by the knees, on to first, and it's handled at first base by Rowdy Tellez. 2 outs. Well, tonight is the first of 3 straight nights of the Cal Platinum Glove bobblehead giveaway. First 10,000 fans to each game. If you missed it tonight, and since you're hearing this, you probably have. You can come to the ballpark tomorrow or day baseball on Wednesday. Mariners.com/tickets.
Do we get one?
You know, eventually.
Okay.
They make their way up here.
Robbie's going to handle that for us?
It'll get here.
All right. Thank you, Robbie.
Here is Yainer Diaz. Ball 1.
How many bobbleheads would you have if you collected one every single night that they've given out bobbleheads over the years?
Are we going to include Funko Pops in this as well? Because then I really can't calculate it.
I think that might be its own category.
Well, that's become enough of a thing. It probably is. The 1-1. The Astros are very right-handed. They have just 2 left-handed hitters in this lineup. Alvarez and Caratini, the man who was just up, a switch hitter. Especially when you look at it from the viewpoint of within the division and facing the Mariners in their exclusively right-handed rotation, losing a left-handed bat and an elite one in Kyle Tucker, you really notice it playing the Mariners.
Well, not only Kyle Tucker, but Alex Bregman has been a guy that's been a thorn in the side of the Mariners for many years as well. 2 good run-producing guys from one year to the next. It's tough to fill those holes. It's hard to find good offensive players.
Another right-handed bat, Jake Myers, on deck. 2 outs, nobody on, a full count here to Diaz. Gilbert's payoff. He gets him swinging. Another slider. That has been the calling card through 2 innings for Logan Gilbert. Tonight's T-Mobile coverage cam as we welcome you inside T-Mobile Park. The Mariners back home. Week-long homestand beginning. Tonight the first of 3 against the Astros. Luke Raley leads it off. Behind 0-2.
It's a good changeup by Wisniewski. Good location, down and away with some really good movement.
Luke got hit twice the other day. Almost got hit by that pitch. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Wisniewski making just his second start of the season. He's working on an extra day's rest, doing 5 innings against the Giants his last time out. Like he jammed him a little bit. A soft pop up right towards Pena. Shortstop by second base. There is out number 1.
Really likes hitting here at home, but this time with that little sweeper gets it elevated in the strike zone and gets in on the hands of Luke Raley. Little soft floater out there to the shortstop.
Pena, the former Gold Glover, won in his rookie season. 1 down for Rowdy Tellez at first base tonight for the Mariners.
I was talking with Edgar Martinez about Rowdy Tellez. Gotten off to a little slow start here. But Edgar was very pleased with his approach here in batting practice. Really trying to keep his hands inside the ball. Hit it to the big part of the yard. Center field, left center. Man with a lot of power.
He's in a good count here, 3-0. Good take there on a pitch that just missed. Dylan Moore on deck. Called a strike. Now the EQC tracer has it there on, well, I was going to say on the edge, but that was in the strike zone. Now Wisniewski back in the count.
It's interesting because last year he used that sweeper an awful lot of the time, 41%, but he still has a sneaky fastball. That last pitch to Rowdy Tellez was 96 miles an hour.
I was going to say, we've seen him 92. I mean, the first pitch of this at bat was 92 on a heater, now 96. So it's kind of been back and forth a little bit. Now Tellez was up 3-0, ends up striking out. There is out number 2, first punch out for Wisniewski. Will that keep you off balance at all as a hitter if a fastball is 92 to 96, or do you consider it a break that they're not all 96?
Well, it's interesting because I'm thinking of Justin Verlander, right? Verlander early in the game, 90, right? But would reach back when he felt like he needed it. And I kind of wonder if they're trying to maybe teach Wisniewski something similar. Use a fastball a little bit early, but when you really need that, when you're trying to go for that punch out, you can dial it up to 96 miles an hour. Former Mariner pitcher Chris Bosio used to have he called it the dead fish. It was like a BP fastball. And you wouldn't believe how many outs he got away with it. In fact, when he had his no-hitter, that was his best pitch.
The dead fish.
Throw the dead fish up. You let him get out in front, pop it up.
Did you have a separate signal for the dead fish?
Yeah, the dead fish was the circle. Just make a little
like the fish is going down the toilet. 1 ball and 2 strikes. I mean, that takes some courage to throw that, doesn't it?
It does. It does. It had a little bit better movement than his fastball because of the, taking off a little bit of the velocity.
I mean, does he choke it to do that? Because you can't slow your arm down, right?
No, you don't want to slow your arm down because then that's going to give away. That's the great thing about a good changeup is the arm speed, right? That makes a hitter think, oh, here comes a fastball. but it's choking it a little bit deeper in and then holding with a little bit different grip. That's going to have a little bit more two-seam movement, a little bit more downward tilt.
96 there, but misses up. So far, it's been pretty heavy on that four-seamer.
Yeah, he's liked it here tonight. We talked about him using it a little bit more than he did his sweeper last year was the pitch for him. And this year, the Astros have gotten him to use that four-seamer.
And got Dylan Moore a little off balance there with that sweeper. To Alvarez in left field, to the side, sat down in order. Scoreless through 2. Tonight's Muckleshoot Casino Resort Pin Report. Those 3 games in San Francisco certainly taxing on the bullpen. They had to work 13 innings, gave up 16 hits, over 250 pitches. Now, obviously, part of the reason why Luis F. Castillo, when he made his Mariners debut, went just 3 innings, and that game went 11. So that was a major reason why the bullpen was worked so much. As Logan gets the call, strike 1 to Jake Myers. Same story. Tough start to this at bat for Jake Myers.
And that last pitch looked like it might have been a little bit off the plate. But when things aren't going your way, you end up not getting those calls.
Only 16 at bats so far this year for Myers. He's batting 8th in center. Does he go? He does not. One, 2. Very close. Not typically where we see Logan's slider, safe to say.
The 2 sliders that he's thrown in this at bat didn't have that real sharpness that we saw in the first 2 innings.
Another 2-2. Softly hit. Bliss going back, and he makes the catch for out number 1. We go down to Jen.
Well, Aaron, we are still waiting tuned for news on how long Victor Robles will be out of the lineup in MRI today. We expect to have a little bit better idea of a timeline in the next 24 hours. There is, however, plenty of energy, lots of smiles from him today as he danced through the clubhouse, gave us high fives with the right arm, of course, because the left arm remains in the sling. But Aaron, he's made the rounds in the dugout quite a bit during this game, talking to teammates and talking to coaches. You know, he's never one to really just sit still and stay quiet.
Well, it seems while he is absent from the field, Val, like you were talking about earlier, it seems so important to have him remain in that dugout like he is tonight.
Well, it really is, because even though he's going to be going through a tough time right now being on the IL, just seeing his face, feeling his energy, hearing his voice. You know, you walk into a locker room. I remember when Ken Griffey Jr. would come in. You knew when Jr. walked into the room, you know. And this guy is very similar that way, personality-wise. I saw it when I was coming in today. He was walking back out. He had just had the MRI. And he was in good spirits, even though he realizes that he's going to miss some time. Looks like they're talking about it right now.
I'd say so. One ball and 2 strikes to Dubon, the number 9 hitter. Gilbert would love to keep the bases empty for the top of the order. Due up next. Flicks this foul. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes. Altuve waiting his turn. Raley gave a little ground, now comes in. 2 outs. First time through the order for Logan Gilbert. That brings up Jose Altuve. He's had a hard time with the strikeout so far this year, and that's the case for the Astros. This is remarkable. Since 2021, Val, the last 4 full seasons, you cannot find a team that has been more consistent in their ability to avoid the strikeout. 19% and change each year, ranking in the top 3 in all of baseball each season until now. 27th in baseball. They're striking out nearly 27% of the time. As he gets corkscrewed there on the first pitch for strike 1. Altuve always an aggressive hitter. There's been a lot of personnel change for the Astros.
There's that split finger. Altuve a little bit out in front, and that ball really tumbling down and in. So if we could show that chart one more time. It was 2021 they were first, correct?
Lowest.
The year before they were last. And they went from last to first, but there was some things that might have helped them at that time, if you know what I mean, to increase or limit their number of strikeouts.
The 1-1. A swing and a miss, 1 and 2. And this is a team that obviously the cheating scandal was a black eye that will always be on the Astros, and they paid the consequences in terms of draft picks. But this is a team that also, when they first broke into the American League, were striking out a ton, changed a bunch of personnel then. Altuve somehow gets a piece of that one beneath the strike zone, and they really became the model of consistency for being able to put the ball in play.
And I know there's an argument, right, on 2 different sides of that coin. Is it important to put the ball in play? You have a large group of people that say yes, because if you put it in play, there's always going to be a chance. But then there's the other side that say, you know, we don't mind the strikeouts as long as that the power is there.
Well, if you're going to have the strikeouts, you got to have the power, and that was the problem with the Mariners last year. They had extreme strikeouts with roughly average-ish power, sometimes below average for the season, depending on when you wanted to look at that number. Two.
It's a very aggressive team, right? Last year, this is a ball club that saw the least amount of pitches in the major leagues.
Which no doubt correlates to them not striking out much, right?
Exactly, because they're going up, swinging, very aggressive.
Trying to put them away with a high fastball up and in. Beginning to become a lengthy at bat for Altuve. Gilbert's 8th pitch to Altuve. This is down and away.
Altuve, a .330 lifetime hitter against Logan Gilbert coming into this ball game.
This will be the 50th pitch on the night for Logan. Soft fly ball. Raley, full head of steam. Luke Raley can't make the catch in foul ground. He lays out for it. I'll get a round of applause from the crowd, appreciating his effort. Victor Robles looking on out there in right field, his position.
Yeah, saying don't watch that left shoulder, but he gives a great effort right here by the big man. He goes out head first, and it looks like the ball gets to the glove, but hits that last finger on the bottom and unable to get it into the webbing, which you need to do if you're going to make that dive. Great effort, though. And I'm sure that hurt.
Here comes pitch number 10. Popped up. J.P. Crawford not having a move. And there is out number 3. Side sat down in order for the second straight inning by Logan Gilbert. May I be so bold to say it is the Mariners' first ever corduroy hat night. First 10,000 fans Friday, 6:40 the first pitch. Rangers are in town. It's brought to you by Alaska Airlines. Mariners.com/tickets. Ryan Bliss leads it off for the Mariners.
So safe to say that'll be your first corduroy hat?
You know, I'm going through all the hats in my lifetime. I think it will be. I honestly, I just haven't had much corduroy, regardless of.
Not even the pants?
I've had.
You're too young.
I've had corduroy here and there. You strike me as a big corduroy suit guy, Val.
Oh,
rolling into the ballpark.
No.
A man with your frame, corduroy looks great.
It's very slender. Slimming.
0-2 to Bliss. Bliss, Crawford, and then back to the top, Julio here in the home third.
I'm kind of thinking, you know, forest green corduroy suit.
Well, Northwest green. One, two. Pena has it come up on him, throws off his heels, gets a strong throw off to get the speedy Ryan Bliss one out.
A blind spot that's never out of sight. How it should be.
Leadoff man sat down by Wisniewski. He's been able to do that each of the first 3 innings. Here is J.P. Crawford. Gets jammed. A skimmer out to second. Altuve sets and deals, and there is a quick out number 2. Bases empty for Julio. Now, I was going to ask you, if you're up third and the first 2 guys have seen a total of 5 pitches, is that an automatic take? Julio's an aggressive hitter. He also got a cookie there.
In the old days, right? Nowadays, it's hunt the fastball. If you get the pitch that you're looking for, go ahead and hit it out of the ballpark. And I don't mind that approach. I actually like that approach. But normally it's like, oh, I'm going to take my time, allow my pitcher to get a little bit more time inside the dugout. But normally it would be almost, back when I was playing, it would have been automatic. If there was 2 pitches, 2 outs, you're taking at least 1.
He's behind here. Yeah, obviously the risk is that you take that first pitch and he gets 96 middle, right?
It always happened that way too. It's like, oh, that's the only pitch I could hit off this guy.
Yeah, that's what he got. Just couldn't move it forward. Really tied up, man. That 2-seamer running in at his belt buckle practically. Julio down on strikes, and Wisniewski retires his sign in order for the 2nd straight inning. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Seattle Mariners. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, of the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Seattle Mariners.
Have you been on the Ferris wheel yet?
I'm sorry. I'm trying to get over the intense music for our copyright read tonight. That was, I mean, like they're asking me to bring it for that. I have not, and I regret each day that goes by that I have not. Have you?
I have not.
You don't strike me as a Ferris wheel guy.
Yeah, I'm kind of done with rides, personally.
This is smoked fowl, like of all kinds.
The last ride I've ever been on, it was the teacup thing.
Yes.
Where you start spinning, and then the thing spins the opposite way.
Yeah.
And I had vertigo for like 3 days. No. I'm like, okay, no mas. Right down at Enchanted Park, right down on I-5. I was with my son Philip, and I was like, why did you do that to me?
I'm still starting to hear that.
It was not a good feeling.
Oh, true line of demarcation in your life. on the corner. 2-2 to Isaac Paredes.
Great location right there, down and away, right on that outside corner. Not a whole lot you could do with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball located there.
You'd rather have the bases empty for that man. Yordan Alvarez due up next. 2-2. A little squibber, and it's booted by Tellez, what had the makings of a very routine out number one. Instead is an error, and a man is aboard for Yordan Alvarez. I think this had some funky spin on it. What do you think?
Yeah, it looks like he right off the end of the bat. Little three-hopper, but it was that third hop that just jumped up. You can see that side spin. That ball comes right up off the thumb of Rowdy Tellez.
Just the second base runner tonight for the Astros. Here is Alvarez. He saw a lot of sliders his first time up. Ended up walking. Now, the first at bat, we were surprised that Gilbert did not throw him even one splitter. It was a 7-pitch walk, and the last pitch was a curveball that missed inside for ball 4. A wave and a miss, and there is the splitter that Alvarez sees for the first time. Then it's a vicious movement to it.
So that split finger that you just saw right there, a lot different than the one he threw last year. This year's split fingers is moving 4 more inches than it was last year, and it was really good last year.
He gets him swinging right over the top. He doubles up on the splitter and strikes out Alvarez.
Yeah, the whiff rate on that split finger is over 50%. This one goes straight down. The one prior to that was running down and away. And old Walter putting quite the face on right there as he releases that split finger to Alvarez.
1 out, 1 on for Christian Walker, trying to work around a leadoff error. Gets the call in the corner. Is this the nature of that pitch, the splitter, that it just is unpredictable even for Logan?
Well, I think for Logan, it's a little bit more, it's slower this year than it was last year. So that's going to make that ball have a little bit more movement. But from just watching him, some of his highlights, I've watched that splitter. As we saw in that at-bat to Alvarez, one tumbled away. That one, the last one, tumbled straight down. And I've seen the other ones going the opposite way. So when you're slowing it down, think of like a knuckleball, unpredictable. Right, so that slow spin rate creates more movement, and I think he's starting to master it. He's starting to have that feel.
Ahead here, 0-2.
I mentioned earlier on that split finger, batters are hitting only 101 coming into today.
He struck out Christian Walker on the splitter his last time up. 1 out, 1 on, top of the 4th inning. Gilbert stepping off. One, 2. Cal tracks it down. Paredes isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, we talked a little bit earlier and mentioned in the open how much more often he is using that splitter this year as compared to last year. It's twice as much. He's throwing it 26% of the time so far coming into today.
See what he goes with here. A check swing, and it sure looked like he went around, and he does. It's the splitter, and it gets Walker for the 2nd straight at bat.
Again, we see this split finger tumbling straight down. But take a look at the movement. That ball started about 2/3 of the way up in the strike zone, tumbles down out of the strike zone. Walker unable to check his swing.
Cal Raleigh out for a conversation with Logan in advance of Jeremy Pena batting.
So even if you have the stats right, coming in today, he had 18 strikeouts. He's got a bunch more already here this evening. 10 of the 18 strikeouts were with that split finger. So now you're a hitter, right? And you see those numbers, you go, oh, wow, so if I get 2 strikes, I'm going to look split finger. But then he still has that 96 that he can ride across the top of the strike zone. And again, that is why when you face somebody like Logan Gilbert, it's rough duty.
Has he hung a splitter yet? It seems like every one of them has been out of the zone, beneath the zone.
I haven't seen the splitter being hung. He's hung a couple of sliders that he's gotten away with, but not that split finger. You know, sometimes pitchers will use certain pitches earlier in the ball game just because it feels better, right? And then once the game gets going, all of a sudden you find that feel for another pitch.
Now we're seeing a lot of the splitter. 0-2.
See, so that one was the one that goes down and away from the right-handed hitter.
It was the sliders the first time through the order. Now the split finger the second time through. 2 outs. 0-2.
I love the location that he's throwing it in as well. As you mentioned, nothing's been above the belt.
Now, even if you offer a swing at it, at least tonight, you got no chance.
Kind of like the dead fish. Just put it in play.
It's the modern dead fish. He got him. Logan Gilbert in a groove. He strikes out the side, and the splitter, the finishing pitch every time this inning. Jorge Polanco will bat when we come back. Randy Arozarena to follow, and then Cal Raleigh. Our T-Mobile coverage cam. Mariners beginning the homestand tonight. 3 with the Astros, a day off, and then 3 with the Rangers over the weekend. Texas teams coming to town. So far, staring contests tonight. Jorge Polanco leads off the bottom of the 4th. He takes ball 1. They look down there. He does not go.
Well, it's good to see Polanco back in the lineup with as hot as bat as he's been swinging.
He's having a fantastic start. Has had to be in and out of the lineup for various health reasons. Also had to leave the team for a couple of days as he and his wife welcome their 4th child. There's out number 1. Here comes the Rosarena. Randy trying to go the opposite way there.
Yeah, you don't get many half swings from a Rosarena.
He makes it pretty clear on most swings what he's trying to do. Wow, that is very much outside. And Caratini setting up away, it looks like. Why wouldn't you?
They were trying to pound Randy the opposite way in his first at bat. He hit that ball off the end of the bat for a base hit to right field. But with a guy that has just great quickness with his hands. I mean, ever since his rookie year, when he exploded on the scene, the bat speed that he had was elite.
1-2. Randy, former rookie of the year with the Rays. Works the count full. He has seen a lot of pitches this year. He's walked quite a bit. The Mariners have done that a lot as a team, among the most in baseball, in fact. Strike three called. Lower inside corner. Pitcher's pitch. There's out number 2. Well, tonight the Mariners have their first Bark at the Park night of the season. You can come for the second one on June 3rd. It's your chance to bring your four-legged friends right here to T-Mobile Park, and you can circle the bases, of course, after the game. Tickets available only at mariners.com/bark. Cal Raleigh swinging off the end of the bat, finds the only man over there for out number 3. Side sat down pretty quickly in order. Scoreless after 4.
Quick look at that last inning. Logan Gilbert throwing the split finger. Look at the variations of movement on that split finger. This one down and away, running away to the right-handed batter's box. The next one straight down from a heart of the strike zone out of the plate, and then finally here to Pena. This one runs to the left-handed batter's box. So as you're thinking, well, if I'm looking for a split finger, you don't even know which way it's moving. It's like if you look slider, you know where the slider's going. This one almost seems like it has a mind of its own.
Strike one to Victor Caratini. That's an amazing sequence we just saw there. It's 3 pitches in 1 pitch.
Same location, right? Arm angle, where he's releasing the ball from. And that's why his whiff rate is over 50% with that pitch. Guys have hard time even putting it in play. Never mind squaring it up.
Curveball on the corner. 0-2 to Caratini. A rare left-handed bat in the order. Switch hitter. Diaz on deck. One two from Gilbert. On the ground at Tellez. Will handle this himself. No. He'll hand it off. Teamwork. One down.
Rowdy saying, come on, man, I'm trying to make light work for you.
Here is Yainer Diaz. Struck out on the slider his first time up. Takes a fastball on the top rail. Strike one. Two pitches. Logan throwing noticeably more this year, the splitter and the fastball. Last year he threw his fastball only 30% of the time. This is a guy who came into the big leagues with almost nothing but a fastball. Fastball and a slider when he debuted. Now Cal was set up there. Just a touch off the plate.
But that's something that you want to see, though, as a young pitcher. You're not just satisfied with who you are as a rookie. You want to continue to improve. You want to continue to kind of tinker around with something. And we saw that with that split finger last year, adding that to the repertoire. He also had the cutter. And he's kind of put that one in his back pocket and said, you know what, I think I'll just stick with the splitter as a new pitch.
One out, nobody on. J.P. Crawford. 2 outs. Down to Jen.
Well, George Kirby was hoping that he would make it back into the Mariners rotation at the end of April. That is probably overly optimistic, but he is trending in the right direction. He threw a bullpen last week. He's got a couple more on the docket this week, and then they can look to send him out for some rehab starts. They don't think he needs a full spring training buildup. They do want to see him in games. But Aaron, the best news of all is they really just wanted him to feel good after throwing, and that is exactly where he stands right now.
Oh, that is great to hear. Here's Jake Myers with 2 outs. Inflammation in his shoulder in spring training. Mariners knew for a long time before opening day that Kirby would not be ready to break camp with the Mariners. Luis F. Castillo, the other Castillo, is in line to start on Wednesday. The series finale here at 110. One ball to 1 strike to Myers.
I'm having a hard time remembering if there's been a ball that's been hit on the button so far by the Astros.
Sure doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of hard contact. Logan hasn't made many mistakes on the middle part of the plate.
1-2. The two hardest hit balls, believe it or not, in this game are by the Astros. They were both at 107. They were both ground ball outs. Caratini and Diaz. Full count. But to your greater point, those are the only two hard hit balls that Gilbert has allowed so far through 4 2/3. Number 9 man Dubon on deck. Payoff. Strike 3 called. He spots the slider. 6th strikeout for Logan Gilbert, who was just in a groove through 5 innings. Making his 3rd start of the season tonight. Our all-state good hands plays, and Logan Gilbert has been dealing against the Astros. 6 strikeouts over 5 scoreless. You think about this game from the perspective of Dan Wilson tonight and how the Mariners season has gone so far. Right now they are 5 games outside of first, trying to avoid beginning the month of April in a hole. Luke Raley swinging a miss for strike 1. You've got the Astros, who are also struggling. The next 2 nights you will be facing their 2 best pitchers, Framber Valdez, their opening day starter, and then Hunter Brown on the day game on Wednesday. With Logan on the mound, and especially with the way he is pitching once again tonight, this feels like you got to get this game if you want to set yourself up for a realistic chance of getting this series.
Well, whenever your ace steps on the mound, right, it's got to be win night. Right now the offense has just not been able to figure out Wisniewski. Offense have just provided 1 hit here this evening. Maybe it'll be Raley, a guy who is very comfortable hitting here at T-Mobile.
Good take off the plate, evens the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Raley's got 15 home runs here and just over 200 at bats. Hitting 264 here at home.
Pena behind the bag at second. Low throw, but handled by Walker. There is out number 1. Well, the Mariners have been in essentially every game but 1 this year. We're looking at the most games in baseball this season decided by 3 runs or fewer. The Mariners are tied for the most in baseball with the Rangers and the Dodgers. The difference is those 2 teams have won nearly all of them. One of the reasons why: clutch base hits, runners in scoring position. The Mariners hitting just 129. Rangers and Dodgers hitting over 100 points higher in those situations. Here is Rowdy Tellez. The only game the Mariners have played that has not been decided by 3 runs or fewer was in the opening series when they were shut out 7-0 to the Athletics. Other than that, they've been in every game. 0-2.
Well, I've always been a believer that if you have good pitching and good defense, you're in every game. right? And now, but then you've got to come up with that clutch hit, right? But good pitching and good defense. This is maybe I'm kind of too old school, but it keeps you competitive on a nightly basis.
Well, I think what you're saying is exactly what we have seen from this ball club for years at this point, right? The Mariners have been one of the most competitive teams in baseball over the last 2-3 seasons. They have been consistently winning somewhere in the mid 80s in terms of games every year. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Rowdy Tellez. The obvious question for the Mariners is how can they go from being a consistently good team to a great team where they can make the playoffs and make a run. I think everyone feels the same. If they get in, they can make a run.
Would you want to face
absolutely
this
not
starting rotation?
2 outs.
You know, and to your point, from 2022, the Mariners have played more one-run games than any other team. They've won 166. I'm sorry, 166 one-run games, but they've won 88. They're tied with Milwaukee Brewers for that. So yes, so many games, 1 hit away, 1 clutch swing.
This is hit hard through the left side. Dylan Moore is aboard. Mariners first base runner since the first inning.
This ball is smoked off the bat of Dylan Moore. The pitch is right down the middle. Little two-seam here at 90 miles an hour. And he just rips it through the 6-hole on the left side of the field.
109 off the bat from Dylan Moore. A little nod to Victor Robles over there. Here's Ryan Bliss. Dylan always a threat to run.
And with 2 out right here, you'd like to see him be aggressive out there. Get himself into scoring position.
To left field. Smacked well. Smacked deep. Ryan Bliss, home run.
Well, he may not be a big man, but he's got some sneaky power. As Bliss just blisters this one over the left field wall.
His first trip with the Trident this year. And a good time with the man on base. 2-0 Mariners. They break the deadlock here in the 5th inning. Called a strike. J.P. Crawford at the plate with 2 outs. Oh, 2. Mariners had not had a hit or a base runner since the 1st inning. Altuve gets to it at second base, and Crawford is out number 3. Our Northwest Chevy Silverado drive of the game. Ryan Bliss, his first home run of the season, a timely one at that. A 2-run shot, and the Mariners take a 2-0 lead after 5 innings. Logan Gilbert now pitching with a 2-0 lead thanks to Ryan Bliss's home run. Top of the 6th inning. Gilbert's pitch count beginning to climb up there a little bit. 84 pitches. Nine 1-2. Mauricio Dubon on the ground. Dylan Moore was in, but able to get to that one easily. One pitch, one away. That'll help things. Down to Jen.
Yeah, another pitching injury update for you. Matt Brash threw a bullpen yesterday, and he is slated to throw a live BP later in the week. At that point, they will figure out what his next steps are. He has been around the big league club, Aaron, for about the last week or so, and hopefully this is just kind of the next step in a fairly close return.
Jen, we can't have you doing updates when Jose Altuve comes up. One out. Here is Altuve. Inside. Well, it's great news on Matt Brash. Mariners very optimistic of his speedy recovery this year, and it looks like things are on track in that regard. Dan Wilson has his bullpen up. Trent Thornton and Gabe Spire. You've got the lefty bat of Alvarez lurking. As that must have hit the bat. One ball and one strike to Altuve. This is slugged out to left field. Altuve leaves the yard. The first hit of the night for the Astros is a Jose Altuve solo home run, his 3rd this year, and it's a 1-run game.
Altuve, one of the Astros who has had some success off of Logan Gilbert. That is his 2nd home run off of the right-hander. He gets that slider right there, hung on the inside part of the plate. Danger zone for any pitcher.
Randy didn't even move. Here is Paredes. So now the tying run at the plate.
Paredes is a guy that's got some pop. Almost all of his home runs are exclusively straightaway left field to the foul line.
He found his sweet spot. That works well with the short porch in Houston. Altuve has made it a 1-run game. You figure if Paredes reaches here, we'll be seeing Gabe Spire with Alvarez due up next.
Altuve with 27 career postseason home runs, 2nd most to all time to Manny Ramirez.
I don't think people would guess Manny Ramirez as the clubhouse leader in that category.
I would agree. I mean, with the extended playoffs, right? Guys are playing many more games. For a long time, it was Bernie Williams, I believe, that, and then prior to that, it might have been some of the old-time sluggers, Mickey Mantle.
Sure, yeah. Manny, obviously an incredible hitter. Here is Paredes with a 2-0 count. It's a whiff there, 2-1. It's at 91 pitches. Alvarez on deck. Just missing in, 3-1. One out, nobody on. 3-1 pitch. Well located. There's that cutting splitter again you were talking about.
One just tumbling away from the right-handed hitter.
Now you don't want to face that man with a man on base. Mariners know that well. Gilbert's payoff. Logan Gilbert, his 7th tonight.
Now this is a location he was hoping to throw to Altuve. That good movement down and away. See that rotation of that slider with that little dot. He gets Paredes to swing right over the top.
So with nobody on and Alvarez representing the tying run instead of the go-ahead, Dan Wilson stays with Logan Gilbert here. Alvarez has walked and struck out. The interesting thing is you have to imagine if Alvarez reaches here, Dan's going to the bullpen at that point. On this, you feel like one way or the other is the last hitter tonight for Logan Gilbert.
And there's some action down in the pen right now.
Yeah, it felt like we would see Spire if there was a man on. But obviously with the bases empty, sticking with Gilbert, and then it would be Thornton if Alvarez were to reach.
Yeah, Gilbert right now at 98 pitches for the evening.
3-0. He walked him on 4 pitches. Tying run is aboard, and the go-ahead's coming to the plate in Christian Walker, and Dan Wilson will make a move. Trent Thornton will be coming on to face Christian Walker. Big sequence coming up. Logan Gilbert with another dominant night. A terrific performance by the Mariners opening day starter. And the fans rise to their feet for Logan Gilbert. Tremendous stuff from Logan Gilbert. He was spinning a no-hitter through 5 innings, Val.
But there's not much more he could have done here tonight. I thought he was outstanding, giving up only 1 run, that home run to Jose Altuve. 7 punch-outs, 2 walks on 99 pitches, and giving up just 1 hit over those 5 2/3 innings. First pitch strikes were 13 out of 21.
Our Beacon Plumbing call to the pen brings on Trent Thornton to face Christian Walker. Ball 1.
Thornton this season has appeared in 5 games, 4 in the 3rd inning, 2 earned runs, 3 strikeouts, and 1 walk. He's got that 4-seamer, a sweeper, a slider, a sinker, a cutter, and a curveball.
On the ground to Ryan Bliss. Mariners young second baseman handles it. Trent Thornton takes care of the real first jam the Mariners have been in tonight. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. The Mariners in front by 1. Well, Root Sports Stream is the new app that lets in-market fans stream Mariners games for just $19.99 a month, or free for participating cable and satellite customers. Mariners.com/stream. Well, it took kind of a awkward swing there, and a little bit of a high throw from Altuve, but he's able to get it there in time. One pitch and one away.
Wesneski now at just 70 pitches here in the bottom of the 6th inning. He's been pretty efficient with his offerings.
You know, when they talk about how hard it is to hit today or in the last few years, isn't this
Aaron, it was hard to hit back
It's
then.
always, I know, I've set myself up for that one, Val. Let's just say this. For whatever the reason, and there's multiple reasons, the batting average was higher when you were playing, Val.
Correct.
Right? Now you tell me if I'm out of bounds with this comment and if I'm wrong. I don't think that maybe even 10 years ago there were many number 5 starters that were bringing the stuff like Wesneski's bringing tonight.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. And you had to make hay on those 4th and 5th starters back then.
Polanco shoots this out to left field. Alvarez getting a rare start in left, makes the catch, 2 outs.
I mean, there was a time when, 90 miles an hour. Oh man, he throws 90.
You're right, sure.
Right? And now it's, oh my gosh, he throws 100.
And
with the majority of the guys in the mid-90s.
We've seen Wesneski at 96 numerous times with a pretty big breaking sweeper plus a changeup. 2 quick outs. Here is Arozarena. We've seen some kind of awkward swings this inning in particular. That's one from Arozarena. That was a blink your eyes inning, man. It was over before it started. Mariners by a run after 6. On Root Sports is brought to you by Virginia Mason Franciscan Health. Make a play for your health with the Mariners' trusted sports medicine provider. Find a doctor today at vmfh.org/Mariners. And by Steel. To find your local Steel dealers, visit steeldealers.com. The first Bark in the Park night, which means we are destined for extra innings tonight.
Bite your tongue.
It's a 1-run game. Pena leads it off. Yeah, the great thing about Bark in the Park night is that when the game is over, you get to come down on the field with your dog and you can walk around the base paths.
I had a boxer, and there's no way in the world I could have brought him to a ballpark. He wanted to fight everybody.
Wonder where you learned that from. 0-2. Thornton back out there.
It's my first night working with you.
Hey, I've seen you clear the room when you need that soft serve out there.
It is the best soft serve in the league.
This is line to Bliss, who makes the catch chest high. One away. Join the Mariners for Salute to Armed Forces Night this Saturday against the Rangers as part of the evening celebration. The first 15,000 fans will take home this Mariners camo jersey thanks to Boeing. Mariners.com/tickets. One down for Caratini. Good breaking ball from Thornton, kind of locked them up. 0-1.
Two consecutive curveballs from Thornton, both of them in that strike zone.
One out, nobody on. Yanner Diaz waiting on deck. Two. Strike three called, and Caratini knew it. Thornton sat down the first three that he's faced.
Nice tight little cutter right there from Thornton. This one coming on the outside part of the plate, catching a good portion of it as Cal sticks it for strike three.
One-run game here in the seventh with 2 outs. Strike one to Diaz.
So I was just thinking about your comment about the velocity that we're seeing here today. How about the guys coming out of the bullpen?
Oh,
I mean, when was the last time you saw someone that didn't throw 90? It's hard to think.
well, the last one was Tyler Rogers in San Francisco, and that's because his knuckles scrape on the mound when he does it. But the Giants bullpen
that's a different animal.
Well,
right?
of course, but
Dan Quisenberry.
He's the only guy in the Giants bullpen who doesn't throw at least 95. And it's because he's a sideshow, right? I mean, they are a deception. He does it a completely different way, obviously. But every other Giants reliever the Mariners saw in those 3 days was 95 plus. And a lot of them were 97, 98. 1-2. Cal's able to hold on, and Trent Thornton is your official hype man here in the seventh. He retires all 4 men that he faces and keeps the Mariners lead. Scratch from Washington's lottery, and you can be out of here with a trip to spring training next year in sunny Arizona. Late today.
That is beautiful right there.
A cool rainy night here in Seattle. 48 degrees right now. Roof is closed. Wesneski's been very efficient. I mean, he only needed 5 pitches to get through the 6. That certainly helped him. Here's Cal Raleigh. He's now at 75 pitches for the night. The Astros finally have some movement in their bullpen. Taylor Scott warming up. And that cutter is so much slower compared to his top velo. It really is almost like a slider, isn't it?
It had that. The thing about that pitch right there, it doesn't drop down. It kind of just runs into the hands of Cal Raleigh. It's got a very sharp late break. So as a hitter, you're looking, you see it, you're thinking fastball all the way, and then right at the very end, it moves.
Tried to backdoor it that time. Cal 0 for 2, trying to extend his 23-game on-base streak that dates back to last year, the longest ever by a Mariners catcher. 1-2. Mariners trying to play a little add-on here in the 7th. Down swinging. Sweeping slider gets Cal. 1 out. Luke Raley coming to the plate next. Well, tonight's game generally has had the feel of 2 offenses trying to get their feet underneath them early on this season. Raley into short right field. Altuve. Two outs, bottom of the 7th. When this one is over with, we will have Mariners post game presented by Emerald Queen Casino. Jen, Angie, and Brad will be with you. A combined 3 runs on a grand total of 4 hits tonight. 2 outs, bases clean for Teles. Into shallow center, and Myers makes the catch. Stumbles after he reels it in. There is out number 3. So the side sat down in order again. Wesneski's made one mistake. The home run ball to Bliss. That's been it. Tonight's T-Mobile coverage cam, we take you back to the final out recorded by Trent Thornton. That was his second straight strikeout, and nobody gets more into it than Trent Thornton. 4 up and 4 down for the Mariners right-hander. Making everybody happy inside T-Mobile Park tonight. He was fantastic. He gives way to Gregory Santos.
Santos has appeared in 5 games this season with 4 2/3 innings, 1 earned run, no strikeouts, 3 walks.
You know, he gets 8, 9, and 1. That means Altuve will hit this inning. Altuve, the offense so far tonight for the Astros, a solo home run his last at bat. And steps Jake Myers. Down the left field line, trouble. It is foul. A great catch made, but man, that was a close one.
Santos hangs a little slider there on that inside part of the plate. Let's check out the Gold Glove play out here in left field, right into the blue glove. Always pays to come prepared.
Well, as the rest of the ballpark was panicking, he was locked in. Up the middle, base hit, tying run with some speed is aboard for the Astros. Myers a single.
Here's a look at that last pitch. Another slider. This one right out over the middle part of the plate. Myers stays with it and drives it right back through the middle.
Mauricio Dubon, nobody out, a man aboard. A 1-run Mariners lead. He squares to bunt and pulls back.
Dubon, who is struggling right now, hitting just .091. You can understand why his manager is asking him to move the runner over.
Tellez will apply the tag. Myers is into second. So 2 outs and the tying run in scoring position. Now, neither team has had many opportunities tonight with runners in scoring position. Neither team has done especially well in those situations this year. Here comes Altuve. This is the last guy you want to see in a spot like this. Astros hitting 200. The Mariners a paltry 132. The strikeout rate for the Astros is the worst in baseball in these situations. That's a good start for Santos. Altuve has driven in the only Astros run so far tonight. A home run off Logan Gilbert his last at bat. It was on the corner, but looked like he got taken out of the zone there. 1 ball and 1 strike. Go ahead run at the plate. Throws to the backstop, and Myers is into third. And now a healthy fly ball can tie this game up.
Yeah, Santos just holds on to this pitch a little bit too long and just yanks it into the left-hander's batter's box. Cal just barely gets a piece of the leather on that one as Meyer moves on over to third base.
Now the infield has to come in. Cal wants to huddle up. Myers at third, Altuve at the plate. You've got the right-handed bat of Isaac Paredes on deck, and then Yordan Alvarez. And that is why Gabe Spire is warming up. Santos working for the second straight day. Infield in, one away. Myers at third, the tying run. Misses away. Altuve aboard. Runners on the corners. Now we know this. Santos, that tremendous two-seam fastball. So many ground balls. Isaac Paredes, not a great runner. Certainly one pitch away from a double play to get out of this jam.
Yeah, we'll see how he goes after Paredes because he likes the pitches on the inner half of the plate. See where Cal sets up.
Missing away again. Well, this is the fourth batter for Santos. Dan Wilson can go to Spire to face Alvarez after this at bat. Altuve takes off, and Cal just trying to frame that, does not get the call.
This ball looks like it's right on the bottom of the zone. And we see it right there.
That's a big stolen base. Takes away the chance for a double play. Infield is in once again, so it also changes the reaction time here. Do you change course now? You pitch for a strikeout instead of a ground ball?
Yeah, you got to look for the strikeout. But obviously you've got to throw strikes, so that's a good pitch to get going.
Into center field, Julio closing on it. Julio makes the catch, and Myers stays put. Julio with a strike, a bullet home. A huge play by Julio.
Yeah, it looked like there was a lot of hesitation by Myers. I think he thought that was going to drop. He did not go back to the bag to tag up as Julio closes in and comes up firing. You see Meyer over there. Julio throwing this one right on the button.
I like how Cal framed it, by the way.
For the strike.
Oh, what a play. And as expected, Dan going to Gabe Spire to face Alvarez. Well, you got your game of the balance right here. This is the pivotal point in the game coming up. Spire against Alvarez, representing the go-ahead run of the 8th inning. Well, things did not go exactly according to at least what we thought would happen. Gabe Spire was walking out of the bullpen. Dan Wilson sticks with Santos. He intentionally walks his Alvarez. And now it's Santos versus Christian Walker. 1 ball and 1 strike. I mean, the most confusing part of that is that Spire was coming out.
Yes, almost as if there was a call down there like, let's go. Maybe a little bit of miscommunication from the dugout. Oh my.
Santos has been wild. He's had one wild pitch at his head. Cal working especially into that left-handed batter's box, missing there. 2-1. So now a guy who has not had great control is in a position where if he lets one fly, it brings home a run. On the ground, and it gets past Dylan Moore. Myers is in to tie. Altuve scores, and the Astros have taken the lead. What in the world happened here in the 8th inning?
This ball's hit hard to the left of Dylan Moore. Looks like he takes a little bit of a step backwards to try to get the better hop, but is unable to put a glove on it. Probably had a chance to get in front of that, but instead elected to play it to his side. And that ball gets it out into the outfield, and 2-run score.
I wish I could shed more light on the situation when we went to break, because that's what everybody's thinking right now. That's what I'm wondering about. And if I'm at home, I'm thinking the same thing. We saw Dan Wilson go to the mound. We saw Gabe Spire walking down the pathway to come out onto the field to pitch. We all looked down to start making changes in our scorebook as we went to commercial break, and all of a sudden we look back up. Spire's back in the bullpen, and Dan's walking to the dugout with Santos on the mound. So.
And Espada went out there to talk to the umpire, like, hey, what's happening? Like, because he was pointing out to the bullpen, like, I thought there was a change being made. And then he walked back in, because we were trying to figure out why Espada was going out there.
Well, they clearly like the matchup better. Gabe was out on the field.
Yeah, he was past Arozarena coming in.
They clearly like the matchup better of Santos versus Walker than Spire versus Alvarez with first base open. And the Astros lead for the first time. Dylan Moore handles it on to first base, and Pena retired. Don't know what else to say. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Astros now in front by 1. Well, the Mariners have 2 more value games on deck this week. You can grab tickets for as little as $10 tomorrow at 6:40, Wednesday at 1:10 to wrap up this series against the Astros. Mariners.com/value games. You can find the full schedule there. Mariners now playing from behind.
Interestingly enough, you figure the Astros are without Josh Hader in this game. He had worked 2 innings yesterday. Their all-star closer, Taylor Scott, is on here. Former Mariner for a brief time. He faces Dylan Moore. And Caratini's going out.
Scott's appeared in 3 games so far this season. Has not given up a run. 2 Ks and 1 walk.
This is an interesting visit. So the Mariners all of a sudden find themselves down to their final 6 outs tonight, trailing by a run. Bottom third of the order due up here in the 8th.
Big sweeper right there from Taylor Scott.
Two balls and a strike. Moore 1 for 2 tonight, a single and a run scored. Miles Mastrobuoni has arrived on deck. He will hit for Bliss with the right-hander up on the mound. Three and 2. Have you ever been in a situation where, and maybe you wouldn't know this even if it did happen, where a manager walks to the mound and the plan is to make a call, and then the pitcher says something, whatever it might be, that now he has changed his mind on the walk? Is that a thing?
Not with a young pitcher, not with a rookie pitcher like Santos. So just watching Danny come out there to the mound, he never did raise his hand like bring in the lefty, because he walked out with his hands in his pocket all the way out. And I don't know, we obviously don't know what the communication was from the dugout to the bullpen.
That's a big help right there. Dylan Moore speed at first base, tying run aboard.
But the odd thing was that Spire came on the field and was almost at the shortstop position before he was told, hey, nope, you go back. It's a big leadoff walk for sure, with Dylan Moore over at first base. We'll see how aggressive Dan Wilson wants to be as far as a steal.
Let's go back to your point about Dan walking out to the mound here.
You can see right there his hands in his pocket. Doesn't even look like he was even thinking about making the move. Looks like he's talking to Cal. Maybe he's saying, hey, what do you think here?
Doesn't look like a whole lot was said, right? Not that that's neither good or bad, but a pretty short meeting. Here is Mastrobuoni. And he gets a call there. Goes his way, ball 1. Yeah, I guess as we've seen that tape and we've seen Gabe making his way in, that's the only part that made it confusing, was Spire on the field. The 1-0. Another close take by Mastrobuoni.
And to your point, right, when we were going to break, we saw him starting to come down the ramp. We didn't realize that he was kind of going back until after everything had kind of transpired.
Tying run at first base, Dylan Moore. There he goes, the 2-0. Caratini's throw, not nearly in time. Moore, a great break, and the tying run in scoring position.
Mariners taking advantage of Caratini, the backup catcher for Yainer Diaz. Diaz, one of the top throwers from behind the plate, but Dylan Moore gets in there head first pretty easily.
3-0. Way upstairs. First two men reaching. Now Joe Spada has a couple of arms warming up. He's had Abreu warming this whole time. Stephen Okert, one of two lefties in the bullpen, just now beginning to loosen up. Now you think that Abreu would be the man closing tonight for the Astros. He did work yesterday, but threw just 15 pitches. We were talking earlier about Hader. He worked 2 innings yesterday, got the final 6 outs.
It'll be interesting to see if Espada brings in Abreu to face Julio Rodriguez, who's in the on-deck circle.
Yeah, I figure that might be what this is all about. This bullpen has been dominant so far this year for the Astros. Highest strikeout rate, 4th lowest opposing average, and they've only given up 2 home runs so far this year. It's been a major strength. Back-to-back walks. Mariners in business here in the bottom of the 8th inning, down a run. Good speed aboard for J.P. Crawford. Squares to bunt and looks at a strike. It's been tough sledding offensively for J.P. so far this year. Has drawn his fair share of walks, but not a whole lot going in the hits department, at least early on.
Yeah, and this is not something you'd have seen a couple of years ago with the way he was swinging the bat.
Squares again, pulls back, 1 ball and 1 strike. Mastrobuoni the runner at first, Dylan Moore at second. Mariners down 1, nobody out.
Taylor Scott looking a little out of sorts here, trying to find that strike zone.
This is his 3rd batter. Espada could go to Abreu next if he wanted to face Julio. Squaring once again, but third base side. Paredes on to first, and J.P. Crawford executes it. Moore into third, Mastrobuoni into second. What will Espada do?
Well executed bunt right here. That pitch is right down the middle. JP makes sure that he gets it down on the grass, making sure that Paredes has to come in to get this ball, which will allow both runners to advance. That's the read for the third baseman.
Abreu is coming on, flame-throwing right-hander to face Julio with 2 in scoring position. Well, this is a true power-on-power matchup with the game of the balance. A one-run Astros lead, bottom of the 8th inning. Julio batting here with second and third, facing Brian Abreu and his big fastball. He has been a major workhorse in the back end of this Astros bullpen in recent years.
Yeah, Abreu has yet to give up an earned run with 6 strikeouts, 4 walks. But as you mentioned, that fastball, 4-seamer at 98 miles an hour, a slider and a change.
Infield is in, 1 out. 97, outer edge, strike 1.
Julio quite a bit late on that 97-mile-an-hour fastball.
Tying run, Dylan Moore at third, Mastroboni at second. Oh, 1. Way outside. Back-to-back 100 strikeout seasons for Abreu in relief. Does not chase.
And one of the things that they've been working on with Julio, Kevin Seitzer and Edgar Martinez, is about getting started a little bit early so you're on time for that fastball. And you got to get started early on a 98 one.
2-1. 2-2. You know, for as great as that fastball is, he threw the slider even more last year. It was his best swing and miss pitch, which is not a surprise.
Little hanging slider right here. He gets away with it as Julio a little bit out in front. Hits it on the nose, but foul down the left field line.
2 balls and 2 strikes, 2 on, 1 out. Here it is for Julio. 99, dots the upper outside corner.
Well, here's the power arm of Abreu as he rushes this one right across the top of the zone. Julio, again, just a little bit, couple of ticks behind on this fastball from Abreu.
Now the Mariners have put themselves in a position now where they are having to go up against maybe the strongest point of this Astros ball club, the back end of their bullpen. Trying not to spoil a chance here with runners at second and third. It's Polanco. Takes low, ball 1. In front, 1-1.
Good slider right there from Abreu.
One. Tie and run, Dylan Moore at third base. Polanco ahead of the count, 2 outs. Base hit can give the Mariners the lead. 2-1 pitch. Right back off Abreu. It sneaks on through. Moore is in. Mastroboni to the plate. And the Mariners have taken the lead. Jorge Polanco.
And that's why it's good to have him in the lineup. The hottest hitting Mariner since the start of the season. He gets all over. A little mistake here from Brian Abreu. A little hanging slider elevated in the strike zone and rips it right back up the middle as Moore and Mastroboni come in to score, and the Mariners take the lead.
Now the Mariners have just been thirsting all season long, 10 games albeit, for that clutch base hit. Now the Mariners get their first knock with a runner in scoring position tonight, and it comes in the 8th inning off of one of the game's great back-end relievers in Brian Abreu. And a little surprised that it was Jorge Polanco. Mariners by a run. Here is Arozarena. And now Munoz getting ready for the ninth. Two and 0. It was back-to-back walks to begin the inning that came around to score. Cal Raleigh would be next. 2 outs, Polanco at first. Randy was on his way, but that's right. You know, we've asked Randy about this, and he said if he knows he is not going to swing,
he anticipates the ball.
He will either back away or on a 3-ball count he'll make his way to first. Polanco takes off. He backs away. It's a strike. The throw, the tag, not in time. And it's spry Jorge Polanco swipes his first bag of the year.
He gets a throw off the knees of the catcher, Caratini. And left hand gets on that bag before Tuve tried to make the tag on his feet.
The opposite way, Dubon angling back with 2 hands makes the catch. Jorge Polanco, a clutch 2-out base knock to put the Mariners in front. They will hand things over to Andres Munoz. We move on to the 9th inning. Mariners baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Big Time Bats, Ichiro Hall of Fame Chrome Extrema and Maple Bats, only at BigTimeBats.com. And by Jack in the Box. The Smash Jack is back with so much more beef. All-star closer Andres Munoz making his grand entrance into T-Mobile Park moments ago. Protecting a 1-run lead. Ball 1 to Caratini.
Munoz has appeared in 4 games, 4 innings, no earned runs, 7 strikeouts and 4 walks.
A pretty eventful 8th inning on both sides, to say the least.
Oh my, yes. It's never good, right, if you're the defending team to walk the first 2 guys. Mariners took advantage of it with the big clutch hit by Polanco.
98, 1-2. Off the mound, JP smothers from a knee. What a play!
Well, that's how you win a Gold Glove right there. J.P. Crawford laying out, going back up the middle. Gets his ball on the short hop. I don't know how he doesn't get to his feet to make the throw. He throws from his knees, and a great play by Rowdy.
Just gets a spike on the back there.
That was tight.
Honestly, if you're the Astros right now, you had to have seen something clear and convincing in your replay room to not challenge that. What do you have to lose? It's the 9th inning. You're facing Andres Munoz.
You may as well use it.
0-2. Myers on deck, number 8 hitter. He struck him out. 2 down.
And that was just a nasty slider by Munoz. Take a look at the break on this one. Starts off in the strike zone and absolutely disappears down and away. It's hard to be able to look for that 98-mile-an-hour fastball and then this pitch.
99 misses. Last hope for the Astros here, Jake Myers. Just misses 99 again. Myers ahead 2-0. Umpires in the crowd wanted that one. Locked him up a little bit, you could tell, but that does miss inside. 3 balls and no strikes.
Yeah, that was one of those sliders that kind of backs up. Never really does slide, but just stays right where it was thrown.
T-Mobile Park on its feet here. 2 outs, 3 balls and 1 strike. Full count. He's doubled up on the heater. The 3-2. Ground ball. On to first. Ball game, and the Mariners win. What a thriller down the stretch.
Saw some great outing by Logan Gilbert. Gilbert going 5 2/3, giving up only 1 hit and 1 run. But it was Polanco with the clutch hit late in the ball game, driving in those 2 runs to put the Mariners ahead. And then, of course, the man who was bringing the heat, Munoz, closes it out.
Polanco with the game-winning hit with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th inning. Well, the Mariners have struggled so mightily early on this season with runners in scoring position, and that was their only hit tonight with a man at 2nd or 3rd, and it came when they absolutely needed it.
So we were talking earlier, right? Good pitching, good defense, and then you just need that clutch hit. And tonight it was Jorge Polanco who got the job done.
We welcome you inside the broadcast booth. Aaron Goldsmith and Dave Valley. And, you know, Val, The Mariners really needed a win, right? They're coming off being swept in San Francisco to the hands of the Giants. You got Logan Gilbert on the mound, your real ace against a division opponent. They're throwing Valdez and Brown, their best two starting pitchers the next 2 days. If you wanted to take this series, Dan Wilson and that whole dugout knew you had to get tonight.
And you got to like your chances when Logan Gilbert gets on the mound. He's off to a tremendous start, but today I thought he was as good as I have ever seen him. His split finger was devastating. He had great command of his fastball. Again, giving up only 1 hit and 1 run. What more can you ask of your guy?
A terrific win for the Mariners. They eke it out against the Astros. What a way to start the homestand. We can take you down to the field to Jen.
That was not an easy at-bat. Polo, how do you get ready for that?
No, just keep it simple, you know. Keep it simple. Try to go out there, try to get a good pitch to hit, and try to make contact with the ball.
Abreu's a flamethrower. What exactly is difficult about that at-bat?
Nothing really, you know, like I said, just trying to get a good pitch to hit. He got good stuff, but, you know, you got to throw it for a strike, so just try to get ready for the pitch.
Did you get it exactly where you were hoping it was going to go?
Yes, I did. I was trying to stay middle away, and I got it there.
We know that you've been dealing with a little bit of stuff in your side. How did that affect you tonight?
Not really. It didn't affect me. You know, I've been working inside over there with my trainers. They just keep me ready for the game, and it worked.
Lastly, why was this win important?
It's very important, you know, give us some momentum. I know we've been doing pretty good stuff. Things didn't go our way, but we'll start today.
All right, I think you got a little celebrating to do inside. Go inside and enjoy this one with your teammates. If they need it, it is a 2 RBI single from Jorge Polanco. They get the series started with a win. We're going to go inside the clubhouse and get reaction following the 4-3 Mariners win.